Episode 80, you have quite the nerve. Didn't guess the ending. Moreover, not only was it a GE design, but it was also a special one, the only sleepwear in their collection. That's why its style was different from the others. The fabric was soft and translucent, designed for comfort. In fact, the material was a rare type of silk produced by silkworms, making it extremely precious. Suyimo looked at it again carefully. Fortunately, the material was still intact, and the clothes weren't damaged. She couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although she liked this brand, the clothes in her hands were from that despicable person, Ningxi. Realizing that she had actually sighed in relief for Ningxi's clothes, Suyimo felt even more ashamed. She threw the clothes heavily to Zhao Meixin. Seeing Suyimo's unpleasant expression, Zhao Meixin immediately knew that something was wrong. This piece of clothing was indeed from GE. The onlookers, seeing the reactions of Zhao Meixin and Suyimo, also sensed that something was amiss. It's over. Could it really be from GE? I just pulled it hard a moment ago. What if I damaged it, and I have to compensate? I thought Ningxi was deceiving people. This is unbelievable. Where did Ningxi get this kind of clothing? Ah! I suddenly remembered something. Some time ago, there was a rumor. At this moment, listening to the whispers around her, Suyimo also recalled what Zhao Anxin had told her before. She mentioned that there were many GE brand clothes in Ningxi's apartment. So this piece of clothing could be confirmed to be genuine. Suyimo immediately glared at Zhao Meixin, feeling even more humiliated. How could she forget such a thing? Wiping her sweat, Zhao Anxin hurriedly whispered, Yimo, I did think of this before, but what I didn't expect was, she actually has the audacity, actually dared to use the company's clothes to compensate you. I don't need to know the reason. You solve this for me. Suyimo handed the clothes to Zhao Meixin with extreme displeasure. Damn it. She was indirectly considered blind in front of so many people, failing even to recognize GE's clothes. Zhao Meixin nodded repeatedly, yes, I will definitely handle it. Yimo, don't worry. You don't need to do anything, just wait and see. Watch how I deal with her. After saying this, Zhao Meixin glared angrily at Ningxi and reprimanded, Ningxi. You have quite the nerve. Actually daring to embezzle the company's property privately. Ningxi raised an eyebrow, oh? I embezzled the company's property? I wonder how you justify that? Zhao Meixin sneered repeatedly, looking very confident as she spoke, do you think we don't know? It's true that there are many GE clothes in your apartment, but all of those are the company's belongings. At best, your place is just a company warehouse. Do you still naively think that these clothes, by being in your possession, belong to you? That you can casually take them out and give them away? Liang Biqin laughed, see, I told you she's an idiot. Earlier, when I said her brain was problematic, she actually dared to argue with me. People nearby, hearing this, showed expressions of sudden realization. So that's how it is? This Ningxi has quite the audacity. Using the company's things to show off. Quite something. Trying to steal the spotlight has driven her crazy. At this moment, Bai Lu was already trembling with fear. She couldn't help but cast a worried look at Ningxi. It was over, the situation was getting out of control. Originally, it was just about a piece of clothing, at most getting kicked out of the company. Now, it had escalated to the point of embezzling company property, and she might end up in prison. Ningxi gave Bai Lu a reassuring look. Then, when the surrounding discussions had subsided, she spoke, Senior Su, Sister Meixin, whether this piece of clothing belongs to the company or if there's something wrong with my mind, I have already, as per your request, brought out a garment of similar grade. You just need to fulfill your promise, and this matter will be considered settled. As for all subsequent matters and responsibilities, they are mine alone to bear and have nothing to do with you. Suyimo's gaze immediately turned cold upon hearing this. Zhao Meixin wanted to retort but found herself unable to come up with a rebuttal. Her expression stiffened instantly. Liang Biqin exclaimed, nonsense. Utterly absurd. Ningxi shrugged, so many people witnessed it just now, and the words came from your own mouths. I haven't said a word out of turn. After a pause, she continued with a drawn-out tone, or, do those words only count for a moment? If that's the case, as a mere newcomer, I naturally have nothing more to say. Provoked by Ningxi's words, Zhao Meixin and Suyimo exchanged a glance and immediately spoke. Words spoken by Yimo will naturally be honored. Ningxi, if you're seeking death on your own, don't blame us. After saying this, Zhao Meixin casually glanced at Bai Lu. Since you two have brought out garments of the same grade as per our request, then this matter ends here. When she mentioned the same grade, Zhao Meixin's tone was noticeably uneasy. After all, anyone with eyes could see that the garment Ningxi brought, even if it was just sleepwear, was several grades higher than what Su Yimo was wearing. Hearing this, Bailu didn't heave a sigh of relief but looked anxiously at Ningxi. Although she was safe now, Ningxi was in trouble. This whole incident was because of her today, and Ningxi was innocent. Liang Biqin held onto Su Yimo's arm, glared at Ningxi, and said with resentment, "Cousin, let's go. It's really unlucky to waste so much time on such a trivial matter." Su Yimo coldly glanced at Ningxi, then walked away without looking back. The crowd, who had been whispering, also began to disperse. I didn't expect this to be the result. Although Bailu is safe now, Ningxi seems to be in trouble, right? It's true. Such a big charge. It's just a difference between dying early and dying late. At the moment Su Yimo and the others stepped away, Ningxi's voice suddenly came from behind. "Senior Su, please wait." Su Yimo's expression immediately worsened, as if saying, "Do you have the qualifications to make me wait?" Liang Biqin immediately scolded loudly, "Ningxi, are you not done yet?" Zhao Meixin wore a knowing expression and looked at Ningxi with mockery. "Oh? Are you afraid now? Regretting your decisions? But, you've said it in front of so many people, with all these witnesses. It's too late to regret now." Ningxi's lips curled imperceptibly. "Sister Meixin, you're overthinking. Why would I regret it? Then why did you ask my cousin to wait? Are you crazy?" Ningxi looked at Su Yimo, who was looking down on her with disdain, and said, "I just wanted to remind Senior Su of one thing. Please, Senior Su, take off your clothes." As soon as the words were spoken, a horrified gasp echoed through the scene. Liang Biqin widened her eyes, "Ningxi. You're simply audacious." Even Su Yimo, who had been disdaining to talk to Ningxi, turned pale and scolded in a low voice, "Outrageous." Zhao Meixin was infuriated to the point that her face distorted. "Ningxi, are you crazy? How dare you say such vulgar words to humiliate Yimo in public?" Bailu was so scared that she didn't dare to say a word, and the people around wore incredulous expressions while looking at Ningxi. This Ningxi really dares to speak. Her behavior has been somewhat strange today. Could she have been cursed? Why else would she keep seeking trouble? Listening to the scolding from Su Yimo and the others, Ningxi's expression did not change from start to finish. Instead, she put on an innocent look. I don't know what I said wrong. Why are Senior Su and the others so angry? I have already compensated for the damaged clothes according to your requirements. So, shouldn't Senior Su's clothes now belong to me? Silence enveloped the surroundings. Even Su Yimo and the others fell silent at once. Finally, it was Liang Biqin who broke the silence. "Ningxi, are you crazy? You actually want a piece of tattered clothing?" Ningxi looked somewhat embarrassed and gazed directly at Su Yimo. "Miss Liang's words are indeed far-fetched. Senior Su's clothes are so precious. How can you call it tattered? This is Chanel's latest season, a high-end customized global limited edition dress. It hasn't even hit the market yet. Even when it does, there will only be 10 pieces worldwide. Each piece is unique. This level of clothing is like a bag that can buy my entire outfit. How can you say it's tattered?" Ningxi's memory was exceptional. She repeated all the praises everyone had just given about this dress. You. Liang Biqin was almost choked by her. "Don't twist the meaning. I mean, if the clothes are dirty or damaged, not that it's tattered." Ningxi nodded knowingly. "It's okay if it's dirty. Sister Meixin just said to wash it, and if it's damaged, it's also fine. I just checked, and that slight flaw is something Senior Su might not even notice. But it doesn't matter to me, since my eyesight is not very good, quite blind actually, I really don't care." Although she said she was blind, the underlying meaning seemed to imply blindness on someone else. And Ningxi said it so subtly and flawlessly that Su Yimo and the others couldn't do anything to her. Seeing the stupefied crowd at this moment, the plot had reversed too quickly, like a tornado. Not content with just that, Ningxi suddenly looked at Liang Biqin with an innocent expression. "Miss Liang, your hands. Keep a distance from Senior Su. Pay attention to the water diamonds on your nails. Don't hook onto my clothes. This dress is so expensive, even if I sold everything I own, I couldn't afford it." As soon as she finished speaking, some people around couldn't help but almost burst into laughter. Liang Biqin seemed about to faint from anger, and Zhao Meixin stepped forward, scolding with a solemn face. "Ningxi, do you have no shame? You're simply a rascal." Ningxi showed a look of grievance. Even rascals have their reasons. "I don't know which part of my words just now was rascally." You? The most infuriating thing about Ningxi's words was that every sentence was reasonable, leaving people with no way to refute. After dealing with Liang Biqin and Zhao Meixin, Ningxi turned to Su Yimo with a pitiful look. Senior Su, I know this dress is your beloved item. I mustered up a lot of courage to let you take it off for me. Actually, I regretted it right after I said it. A gentleman doesn't snatch what others cherish. How about giving this dress back to Senior Su? I don't want it anymore. Ningxi. You? Since becoming famous, Su Yimo had never suffered such humiliation. She almost choked, feeling like she was about to spit blood. What did she mean by giving it to her? This despicable person even spoke as if she was bestowing a favor. Sister. Sister, are you okay? Liang Biqin immediately shouted excitedly, Ningxi, you still say you're not a rascal. Do you want my sister to take off her clothes in front of so many people for you? Are you trying to die? Under the agitation, Liang Biqin had become somewhat incoherent. Ningxi immediately showed fear. How is that possible? Of course, Senior Su would find a restroom or somewhere to change, and I would wait here. I can wait for however long it takes. While comforting Su Yimo, Zhao Meixin looked at the gray dress in her hand. The one you brought is a nightgown. You let Yimo change into this nightgown? Ningxi hurriedly said, how could that be? Sister Meixin, you're really misunderstanding me. If there are no other spare clothes in your maid's car, I can wait a few more days. This statement was subtly implying that Zhao Meixin and the others were reluctant to give Su Yimo's dress back to her, so they deliberately found fault with Ningxi multiple times. At this moment, Su Yimo finally recovered. With lips pale, she sternly said to Zhao Meixin, give it back to her. Give her this dress back. Zhao Meixin looked embarrassed. This? Yimo, if we give it back to her. Before she finished speaking, Su Yimo had already glared at her. Did you not hear what I just said to you? Still feeling that today wasn't embarrassing enough for her? She had had enough. Not daring to defy her, Zhao Meixin could only run to Ningxi and hand her the good nightgown. Alright. Here's the dress. It's just a piece of clothing. Look how anxious you got. Acting like you've never seen the world before. To reclaim some dignity, Liang Biqin quickly chimed in, she's just a country bumpkin. She sees a damaged piece of clothing like it's something precious, even directly asking my sister to take it off. After saying this fiercely, she glared at the surrounding people, urging them to quickly join in scolding Ningxi. The onlookers, who had been stunned since Ningxi suddenly stopped Su Yimo, had all forgotten how to speak. Only when Liang Biqin urged them did a few absent-mindedly mutter a few words. Yes. Look at her poor and crazy appearance. Senior Yimo is so generous. This expensive dress, in the end, she said not to compensate. Senior Yimo is just teaching her some manners, not really caring about a piece of clothing. But she got so anxious. Su Yimo took a deep breath, regaining her noble and aloof demeanor. Accompanied by Liang Biqin and Zhao Meixin, her bodyguards, she left without looking back. Behind her, Ningxi's lips curled slightly as she carefully patted the dust off the dress in her hands. She thought, I'll wash it thoroughly when I get back, it's been dirted by these people. After all, this dress was a gift from the big boss. How could she really use it to compensate Su Yimo? If taken, you have to spit it out. It wasn't until Su Yimo had left for a long time that the people who had been holding back for a long time finally dared to speak. They all looked dazed. Is it over? I guessed the beginning but didn't guess the ending. Moreover, did you notice? Ningxi just went home and said a few words. In the end, she didn't pay any price and everything was fine. It's really something. As the crowd gradually dispersed, Bai Lu finally came to her senses, walking anxiously to Ningxi's side. Ningxi. Yeah? Bai Lu. Ningxi carefully folded the dress and put it in her bag. Bai Lu frowned. Ningxi, although this matter is considered resolved, you've offended them badly today. What if they come to trouble you in the future? Ningxi laughed indifferently. Bai Lu, do you think if I didn't offend them, they wouldn't trouble me in the future? Bai Lu shook her head subconsciously. Exactly. Given Ningxi's current position, conflicts of interest with Su Yimo and the others were inevitable, no matter how careful she was. Also, Bai Lu, you can rest assured. Su Yimo cares a lot about face. If she immediately comes to trouble you after today's incident, it's too obvious. So, in the short term, you're safe. Ningxi didn't say one more thing. The current hatred had probably shifted to her. Su Yimo probably wouldn't care much about Bai Lu now. Touched, Bai Lu bent down to express her gratitude. Ningxi, thank you so much today. Otherwise, I would have been kicked out of the company. Bai Lu, you're too polite. I haven't helped you much. We're both people who have fallen into the world. Ningxi noticed the bruise on Bai Lu's knee as she knelt down. Bai Lu, are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? Ningxi asked with concern. Bai Lu hurriedly shook her head. No need, just a minor injury. After saying that, she looked somewhat embarrassed. Ningxi, it's fine to call me by my name. Don't call me, sis. I'm not qualified to be called that. Ningxi lightly chuckled. You're older than me, it's only natural for me to call you sis. Besides, Bai Lu's works are ones I really like. I've watched all of your Red River, Green Sprout, and Where the Wind Blows. I love them all. Your acting skills are commendable. Bai Lu looked astonished at Ningxi's long speech. You've watched my movies? These were works in which she had a relatively larger role, but due to their artistic nature, they didn't make much of a splash. Also, she had no luck with awards. Ningxi nodded confidently. Yes. I've watched them. Sister Bai Lu's acting style is very distinctive, especially the way you handle details is impressive. I specifically studied it. Unfortunately, your movies are too few, but it's okay. I've just watched your latest one, Listen. I feel you have a good chance of winning an award. When the time comes, you can act in more good movies and benefit the audience. Bai Lu stared at Ningxi in astonishment, unable to recover for a long time. She now believed that Ningxi had indeed watched her works, otherwise, she wouldn't be so familiar with her acting style.